Colonel McGinnis, thank you for joining us. And so how does allowing Ukraine to strike Russia with U.S. supplied weapons change the Ukraine-Russia war?
Well, Arthel is probably going to enrage Putin, which of course is problematic. Keep in mind, the intelligence community, according to the New York Times, recently said that Ukraine is losing the war. Now, we know that Zelensky, as you just reported, has come to the United States weeks ago with a victory plan. And allegedly, when he met with President Biden, he made it very clear that using ATACMS and other long-range missiles, such as what the French and the UK just released, will be helpful. Now, unfortunately, it's a possibility that this could likely broaden the war. Now, keep in mind, the Chinese are allegedly providing lethal aid now to Russia. The Iranians have, and of course, as you just reported, the North Koreans have sent upward to 10,000 troops to Russia, allegedly that are going to be in the eastern provinces helping in the fight against Kursk. So you have a host of issues here. Allowing them to use HIMARS ATACMS that can reach 188 miles inside of Russia could be incredibly problematic.
So here's the video I promised. So this is over the intro. Biden decided to authorize Ukraine to use long-range missiles from the U.S. and Russia officials says that Biden's decision to let Ukraine fire missiles deep into Russia could lead to World War, because of the fact that we already know China's helping Russia. There's an alliance between him and North Korea. I guess North Korea said, hey, they take Russia, we're next, right? And I want to read a little bit into it, and then I'm going to get varied reactions from it. Trump already not denounced it, but Trump allies already attacked Biden for allowing Ukraine to use missiles. I don't believe Trump himself has said that. Only his surrogates said something. So President-elect surrogates accused President of seeking to spark World War III over decisions to allow limited strikes. Allies of President-elect Donald Trump has lashed out angrily at Joe Biden for his decision to permit Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles to launch attacks inside of Russia for the first time, in what the Kremlin has termed an escalation in the war. Key Trump surrogates, including his son, hardlined congressional Republicans, and other backers have accused Biden of seeking to spark World War III before Trump's presidential inauguration in January. The military-industrial complex seems to want to make sure that they get into World War III before my father has a chance to create peace and save lives. This is how many people, like outside of the Trump circles, are seeing this. But I have a video with Ben Shapiro, and I think, it's good to see, people who are against foreign intervention, people who are for foreign intervention. And I think it's important for us to have both sides of the story to make a more well-rounded view, to get a more accurate view of what's going on here. A former acting director of national intelligence during Trump's first term, who has seen as a potential candidate for Secretary of State, no one anticipated that Joe Biden would escalate the war in Ukraine during his transition period. This is as if he's launching a whole new war. Everything has changed now. All previous calculations are null and void. Now, Ben Shapiro thinks that this is some part of some maybe bigger thing, right? According to Ben Shapiro's calculation, he doesn't believe that Russia will actually retaliate in kind. So let's read this real quick. Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to fire U.S.-made and supplied missiles deep into Russia, a major policy shift announced over the weekend after months of intense lobbying by Kiev, has drawn a furious response from Moscow. While there's no immediate reaction directly from the man who launched the nearly 3-year war on his neighboring nation, lawmakers aligned with Vladimir Putin in Russia said Monday that the move was unacceptable and warned it could lead into a third war. Now, some people think this is saber rattling, right? I don't know. Guys, I'm very upfront and honest with you guys that I will admit when I don't know something. Foreign policy is not really my strong suit. So let's see what Ben Shapiro has to say here, and then I'll give more my thoughts on it as we continue through the video.
Some U.S. officials say they fear Ukraine's use of the missiles across the border could prompt Vladimir Putin to retaliate with force against the United States and its coalition partners. That is unlikely in the extreme. Vladimir Putin sees Donald Trump coming down the pike. He knows both that Donald Trump does not want to surrender and also that Donald Trump does not want to prompt a full-scale war. And what that means is that all of this is likely to actually advance a deal. Again, one of the things that you are not seeing thus far is strong language coming out of President Trump or J.D. Vance condemning Joe Biden for doing any of this.
which is true, right? Because like when I said Trump's scary gets, this is I don't know how long that article was, but these are people who are not a cabinet member. These are people who are not technically part of Trump's circle. They're just around Trump, right? It's like us. Like we are mad about the fact that, oh my God, Joe Biden's trying to give us a parting gift, World War III. All of us are saying that. People on X are saying that. But Donald Trump himself has not said anything about this escalation from Joe Biden. JD Vance has not said anything about this escalation from Joe Biden. So this is why I said that, what Ben Shapiro's saying here could be plausible. Actually, it could be likely to be the case. So I think, I think there's some validity to what Ben's is saying here about the use of Biden authorizing the missiles. So let's continue with his commentary.
Presumably because a rush of aid to Ukraine in advance of a deal is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And by the way, the Europeans are coming to grips with this. The Europeans have known for years that this is the way this conflict was going to end, which is why, according to the Wall Street Journal, President-elect Trump's push for peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine is finding growing acceptance in Europe as one of the biggest aerial bombardments of the war added to growing concern about Ukraine's ability to withstand mounting Russian attacks. Officials in many capitals recognize an off-ramp to the conflict appears increasingly necessary. Apparently, the increased alignment between Europe and the Trump administration over the openness for talks is a sharp turnaround from even 6 months ago. Back then, European officials looked in dread at the Trump team's pledge to end the war with swift negotiations amid fears the former president would cut a deal with the Kremlin at Ukraine's expense. Now again, I never believed that was true. In fact, I'd spoken with European leaders who were much more sanguine about Donald Trump than the left-wing press in the United States. They were saying the world was more peaceful, people were more scared of Trump, and the deals that he was cutting looked more solid than anything like what Joe Biden has been doing.
And it only adds into this narrative because, I joked around, but it's true. Obama said, hey, don't underestimate Joe Biden's ability to F things up. And I think there was a G20, some type of, world summit where all the world leaders come together. Biden was in the back. No one cared about Biden, right? And this is what people were talking about. We want strong leadership. This is why we wanted Trump. And maybe, right, because remember, there was talk when Trump came to the White House that him and Biden talked for what? Almost 2 hours, apparently. Maybe they were talking about this. Hey, I'm about to do this. Are you okay with it? It could have been some arrangement he made with Zelensky. Who knows? We're all on the outside. We don't know nothing. We're all speculating here. But based on what Ben's saying here, it seems that this might be the more probable case for the most part, right? I didn't see, because Trump, minute Biden do something, when he pulled out of Afghanistan and he effed that up, Trump came out immediately with a statement. No statement here. I think this is something that maybe Trump and Biden in the background may have agreed to do.
The world is already adjusting to the Donald Trump presidency and is getting stronger for that. By the way, it has now been confirmed by Khan 11, which is a news channel in Israel, that Hamas has been booted out of Qatar. Those top officials are now in Turkey, which should lead the United States, as the leading funder of NATO, to suggest that either Turkey needs to give up those Hamas officials and broker a release of the hostages being held in Gaza, including several Americans, or Turkey should be booted summarily out of NATO. NATO benefits should not be attached to a country that openly sides with terrorist groups.
Agreed. And this is where the Trump effect is already taking place, right? Because you got people out here, other Republicans sound on, including whenever I see people say far right, I'm like, there's no such thing. Everyone's far right according to the left-wing media. This is something that media likes to do, especially The Guardian. They like to pretend that their position where they're at is the center. They're liberal, so they pretend, okay, you're a liberal. If you're a liberal, you're a centrist. This is their perspective. So anyone who's right of a liberal is far right. Make it make sense. And Matt Lee said that Joe Biden has just set the stage for World War III. Let's all pray that it doesn't come to this. So Ben's playing the probability game. I don't think it's probable that a war is going to escalate from this. Just knowing that in 2 months he's going to deal with a whole different president. I don't think Russia can take any more land. So this could be like a consolation prize for Zelensky. Say, hey, we're going to send you one more foreign aid package to reconstruct, but you got to let Putin have the 2 regions that he took. I forgot the regions already. But that was the main reason why Ukraine, Biden were posturing to continue the war because they wanted to take back the land that Russia's already occupying. I don't know, but I don't know where this is going. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you believe that this conflict will escalate and create a world war? Do you believe this is just saber rattling to create more leverage in the negotiations when Trump comes in? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.